a seamstress to do this as a bustle for your wedding gown, you got ripped off. That's unacceptable. That is 2 loops of fishing line, monofilament thread. If this is used and placed over one of these buttons, this line can saw right through and pop that button off, and your train is going to come down, and it's going to be a miserable reception for the rest of the night. With a little thought and a few more minutes of time, you will have a professional bustle, easily done, nicely executed, and secure for the entire party. Now that we've completed our strong thread loop, we're going to add a secret weapon. These buttons are beautiful, but they are not sturdy enough. The plastic underneath can easily pop with the weight of the train hanging on them. So what I do in this particular case is take a clear pant button. This is just a standard button that you can find on any dress pant. And I'm going to place it, I've placed where our loop is going to go to bring our train up. And now I'm just going to sew this clear button. And you can see I'm using several strands. Let's see if I can do this with the camera. Gotta be careful keeping your threads from twisting. With this many strands, it's probably safe to go in twice. And you can come out on top like so. And that's good, but now you've got to lay down some pretty sturdy knots. And I always do 3. If 2 is good, then 3 is super secure. just go under the button into the dress. That's 1, 2, and one more. Makes 3. And that button is going to sit in between, nestled nicely. I'm going to hide the thread tail. So what I do is just poke it in and bring it out like so and clip it. There. And now when our bride goes down the aisle, no one is going to notice that clear button sitting there or the thread loop in the train. It's a lovely, sturdy method. So here we are ready with the first section of our 3-point bustle. I won't be completing it all on camera. You can see my pins. There will be another loop and a loop here, which will fasten somewhere in this area, pulling up the sides. It's a beautiful train. The bustle is what holds the train up for our bride to dance the night away with her beloved husband. So we put loops and a clear button here, which is all camouflage. No one sees this when you're going down the aisle. The 3 points are the center seam and 2 smaller loops on side seams. So I'm just going to stop talking and go ahead and attach this. Starting with the sides, take the loop in hand and then let go, hold the dress. And you want to just lift these lower, the side ones, so that the dress comes just off the floor. And that will tell you where it's going to go. So giving the dress a 1, 2 twist, we're going to drop it on one of these buttons here. Now these buttons will hold on the side because it's not all the weight. It's very little weight on them, so that's perfectly fine. And you notice that when I drop the loop on the button, it untwists and locks the loop on. And then we go over to the other side with the same thing. 1, 2, and we're going to drop this on the button just above. Loop goes over, untwist. So far, so good. Look, we have the dress in a perfect place. Nobody's going to step on her. I never worry about my brides. It's the people dancing around her, especially if there's any old fashions involved. Okay, so finally the center seam, find your loop, give it a little shake, let go and twist. 1, 2, at least 2 turns. And here's our clear button hidden. Pull out, slip over, and unwind. And once we do that, we fan out. Now, on the day of, her bridesmaid, whoever is helping her can decide if they want that sides to go up a little more, then they just move those loops up on these buttons. But this should be very good for her. Yeah, it's going to swing a little. So this is called a 3-point American bustle. And as I explained earlier, many kinds of bustles, so this isn't one and done. each dress is unique and you have to find what works for it. But I think Sabrina's going to be much happier with this than the fishing line. There's many varieties of dresses, so there are many varieties of bustles. This is called an American bustle. When we pull it up on top, French bustle is tied underneath with ribbons and rings, and I have methods for that too. It's much more complicated, but sometimes it's necessary depending on the dress. So that's just one of my methods for making my bride very happy on the most important day of her life. I hope you enjoyed.